viewers, I decided to make a brain cake for Halloween. I was going for a more simple cake, but then I decided I wanted to do a theme cake, so I made a brain cake. So keep watching if you want to see how I made it. I started off by making two round 6 by 6 inches vanilla cake, which I dyed pink in color because I wanted to have like a flesh color. So I used pink color, and if you want to see the recipe for that vanilla cake, you can find it in the description box below. So after I baked my cakes, I allowed them to cool overnight in the refrigerator so that they will be completely chilled and it would be more easy to work with. So the next day I took my cake out of the refrigerator and I started to level it off. I took the top off so that I got a smooth top and I could carve it how I wanted it to. So there's no need to cut the cake into layers because we are not making like a layered cake. So after taking the top off my cakes, I decided to use simple syrup. So simple syrup, it basically helps to lock the moisture within the cakes. It's basically 1 part sugar and 1 part water. You just boil them together, and then I syruped my cakes. Next up, I used ganache to hold the two cakes together. You can also use buttercream or any type of frosting you want. I made a peanut butter chocolate ganache, the recipe of which you can find in the description box below. Applied ganache on top of one of the cake, and then I placed the other cake on top, and then I decided to carve my cake into the shape I want. I went with an oval shape, but it wasn't exactly an oval shape. I kind of messed it up. Next up, I decided to crumb coat my the base of the brain cake. I used peanut butter ganache, and then I crumb coated it. And before crumb coating, I cut it from the middle. The middle basically defined the two cerebral hemispheres, the left and the right. So that basically just gave more texture and a more defined look to my cake. After crumb coating my cake, I placed it in the fridge to cool a little bit. In the meantime, I made some marshmallow fondant. I made it at home. I prepared it a day before, so I just took it out of the fridge, let it come at room temperature, and then I kneaded it, and I took small pieces of the marshmallow fondant and I rolled it, and I got like long strips. Those strips were going to go over the cake. Do not need to be perfect because two brains are never the same. The anatomy of two brains is not the same, so it's okay. You don't need to follow an exact pattern. You can do it however you want. If I had to like divide my brain, like what's inside my brain, it would be 5% names, 10% recipes, 4% of the stuff I should know of school, and 81% school lyrics. Like, that's exactly how it is. So anyways, coming back to place it onto the cake, it doesn't need to be perfect. There's no pattern you need to follow because you can do it however you want. Once you start putting the strips on, it kind of gets that cake look, the brain look you are going for, so you will see that it's coming together. So so I decided to do one side of the cake first, one hemisphere first, and then the other one. And when I was done with one, I could see that it's coming together. You know, the human brain starts working from the moment you are born, and it never stops unless you have to stand out in public and talk. That happens with me a lot. Like, I'm just sitting there, I'm like blank. I kind of get a little nervous around people, I'm not gonna lie. So anyways, after you have formed the strips, I let my cake chill into the fridge because I wanted it to be nice and cool. I didn't want the fondant to melt because it started to sweat at room temperature because it had been out for a long time. So I let it put in the fridge, and it was there for like a couple of hours. So after a couple of hours, I took the brain cake out of the fridge, and I wanted to go with like a blood sort of thing. So you could use like either raspberry jam, or I use like a strawberry syrup, and I just kind of brushed it over the strips, and that basically gave it a like a blood look. It was like I was actually amazed. I was like, did I pull it off? It kind of looked good. I was satisfied with it. So happy Halloween, and please tell me what you think about this video. What do you think about the cake? I kind of liked it. I'm not a professional baker. I'm just 16 years old, and I love baking and I find it fun. So I wanted to do something for Halloween, and I did a brain cake and I kind of liked it. So tell me, what do you guys think?